The enthusiasm's back, the hunger's back, and so it's been easy to get back into my old, like the old days, having that tunnel vision. Right, when you have that tunnel vision, and you know, now obviously I know it's not the smartest thing in the world coming back after 3-year retirement and 2 fights in 7 years. That's craziness. But I think the fight, it's a great challenge for me, and so to meet those challenges, you have to rise to the occasion, and I've had to have that tunnel vision and that focus on what I have to do, and this is going to be a very difficult, hard fight for me, but I'm prepared for such. There's no big strategy. There's no surprises in this fight. He knows pretty much what I'm doing. I know what he's going to do. You know, Haugen's basically a counter puncher. That's what he does. So I'm sure he's going to try to have me come in and make some mistakes. And I'm sure his people have told him, look, Mancini hasn't fought in 3 years. You know, so I mean, he's not going to have the sharpness. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously you prepare for a war. I think it's going to be a 12-round war, and I prepared for such. Anything short of that would be a bonus, but I prepare for the long, hard fight, and more likely it will.
And so, for the first time since March 6, 1989, Ray Mancini makes this walk to the ring, the former WBA lightweight champion. In March 1989, he came back to face Hector Macho Camacho. That after a long layoff, after losing his title to Livingstone Bramble and losing in a decision loss in the rematch to him. And as this crowd gets a peek at Ray Mancini, they will react and react with a lot of passion. As we said earlier, Kurt, they love him here.
This is his town. It's a hometown. He might say Youngstown, but this is also Mancini town here in Reno.
And as he heads toward the ring, obviously Ray Mancini has got a lot of things going through his mind now, because this is an experience he hasn't had in a while. In the traditional Italian colors with the American flag on his robe. So we get a chance again to see Ray Mancini in the ring. It seems almost odd to see him in the ring, doesn't it, Bert?
It's deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra said. It's been almost 1,300 days since we last saw him in the ring, ironically in Reno, Nevada. And here he is back again. And before that, it was 4 years when he fought Livingston Bramble, before he fought Camacho here in Reno, Nevada. And guess where he is? Reno, Nevada.
All right, and that is where his opponent will be, a man who also has had his moments in the sun here in the biggest little city in the world. He's a man who is also a former world champion. His name is Greg Haugen. Let's take a look at him now.
I'm very serious about this fight. You know, I'm taking Ray very serious, even though he's been off. You know, training's probably a little harder for this fight than the last couple fights. So, you know, I'm very serious about the fight. I will win the fight. You know, Ray's probably going to come at me or try to come at me, but, you know, I don't know if that's going to happen with him, you know, with me hitting him. You know, the way I'm going to be hitting him, you know, it's going to be a different story. So, you know, we'll see what he does. What I do is just get in the best shape possible and go out to win the fight and do what I am capable of doing, and that'll usually win me the fight. You know, right now I'm just ready to fight. I've been here 4 weeks now, and Ray's going to find that he made a big mistake by taking me as a comeback fight.
There's the blood flow. There's the run with the blood flow. Good rolling. Good rolling. That's it. Roll, roll.
And here he comes, Greg Haugen, the man who really shocked the boxing world back on December 5th of 1986. He beat Jimmy Paul for the IBF lightweight title over 15 rounds, a match that very few people thought he would win. Defended that crown, went on to lose it to Vinny Pazienza, won it back again, ultimately lost it to Pernell Whitaker. And Bert, as is always the case, Greg Haugen, he's a feisty little guy. Going into this match, he got under Mancini's skin so much, an amazing thing happened. They actually ended up making a $100,000 bet, in which the promoter intervened and said they would add $50,000 on to the purse of whoever won this bout. So there is at stake, in addition to the NABF title and the win to move on, also an extra $50,000 on each of the fighters' purse, whoever would win.
Well, it translates into 100,000.
Yeah, that's right.
And because it's illegal here in the state of Nevada for the fighters to bet on themselves, not that it hasn't been done before, the promoter intervened in Lou Falsino. But it is what has happened. Both of them think they can win. The betting odds at the time of Haugen's coming in are 19 to 10 Haugen, but that bet is even, 50,000 a man.
And it has added a little spice to this match. Haugen not getting as nice a reception as Mancini did, but then he loves that. He thrives on it, doesn't he?
This is him all over. He has been the Peck's bad boy ever since he started fighting, and he loves the whole image.
There's a little mischievous grin that always accompanies him into the ring, and it's there tonight. Color guard is coming into the ring, and we're preparing for the national anthem. Both men appear to be pretty loose coming into the ring and have worked up something of a sweat, which of course is always a key item that you look for.
Somebody just threw something in at Haugen. He picked it up and threw it back out. That's how loose he is.
Not much bothers him. He has faced hostile crowds before. He has gone wherever he needs to go to get an important match. And as you look at Ray Mancini, he is ready for action. Let's go up to Jimmy Lennon.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to ask you to rise for the singing of our national anthem. In the ring, presenting the colors, we have the Nevada Air National Guard, Color Guard. And to lead us this evening, please welcome from Harrah's Reno Hotel and Casino, Michelle Walker.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming o'er the land of the free and the home
Well, sometimes it's in the air and sometimes it isn't. I got to tell you, it's in the air tonight, folks. This crowd is ready for this fight, and we are getting ready. Let's take a peek at some of the numbers. There you see the Mancini versus Scramble, Haugen versus Camacho. Some of the numbers that mean something.
Reno, Nevada,
as far as the numbers thrown, the numbers landed.
Well, that's the jab in there. Basically, Mancini uses his jab a lot, but it falls short.
And let's take a peek at the rules now that we will be working under. 3 knockdown rule in effect. No standing 8 count. The bell, you can only be saved by the bell in the last round. Only the referee can stop the fight. Those are the key rules. And here's the tail of tape. Not much to choose from here, Bert.
They're mirror images. You have to understand, Mancini's 31, Haugen's 31 to each, 140 pounds. Their records, 29-4 each. They are mirror images. That's what's going to make this a very good fight.
So all the provocative questions will be answered finally, and we'll go to Jimmy Lennon now for the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us across the globe, we welcome you to the biggest little city in the world, beautiful Reno, Nevada, as we present the featured bout of the evening. This bout is sanctioned by the North American Boxing Federation. The supervisor is Sammy Macias. And the North American Boxing Organization Supervisor John Montano, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Luther Mack. Commissioners, Nat Carasali, Dr. Elias Gaddam, Bruce Lane, and Dr. James Nave. The executive director is Chuck Minker. Presenting the officials as appointed, ringside physicians, Dr. James McLennan, Dr. John Wickman, Dr. Craig Goodmanson, Dr. Joseph Heflin. Timekeeper at the bell and keeping count of the knockdown, we have Jim Carpenter and John Rogers. Introducing the judges at ringside, Keith McDonald, Bert Clements, Jerry Roth, and introducing the referee in charge of this bout, he will be giving instructions after the introductions, Mills Lane. All right, fans, here we go. This is it. Momentum Enterprises and Al Goosen Promotions, 10 Goose Boxing, in association with the Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority, present the main event of the evening. Tough Guys Don't Dance, the NABF and NABO Junior Welterweight Championship, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first on my right, he is fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing black trunks with red and blue trim. He is fighting out of Henderson, Nevada, and he weighs in at an even 140 pounds. His record includes 29 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, with 14 wins by way of knockout. He's ranked the NABF #2 contender. Welcome, the former 2-time IBF lightweight champion of the world, Greg Haugen. And his opponent across the ring. On my left, fighting out of the red corner in this 12-round championship bout, he is wearing green trunks with red trim and hailing from Youngstown, Ohio. He weighed the same weight of an even 140 pounds. His record, 29 wins, 4 losses, 23 big wins by way of knockout. He is ranked the NABF #3 contender. Please welcome the former WBA lightweight champion of the world, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Once again, here's your referee in charge, Mills Lane.
All right, look, Murph, listen right here. If he goes right here, I'm not going to call it low, all right? Now, we've already gone through the instructions. I expect a tough, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Any questions here? Any questions here? Let's get it on.
Well, if you can't feel what's being projected in this building at home, you should. I have to tell you, this crowd is very pumped up for this, Bert.
This is the heavyweight championship fight atmosphere.
Very interesting.
You would not know it's NABF. You would think this is for of the world, and as for the moment, every fan here feels it is.
I'm not given to hype, but I'll tell you what, this is a very charged atmosphere. We begin with round 1. It is a 12-round match, and Ray Mancini is back in the ring.
And for Ray to win, he must pump that jab.
That's what many people believe, and he's starting out doing that. Greg Haugen not moving back as Mancini had to face when he fought Camacho. Haugen, of course, faced Camacho twice and had to chase him around the ring.
No, they both are going to put a scratch in that middle line and come to it.
Mancini gets in a right hand. There's the jab by Haugen, but Mancini doing exactly what he needs to early, using that jab.
Haugen's a counter-puncher. He's going to let Ray try to lead, but if Ray leads with a jab, it's going to be difficult. If he swings with hooks, Haugen can get to him.
Haugen using the jab. Haugen and Mancini both often face taller fighters. In this case, they're about the same height. It's a bonus for each of them. And that's part of the reason why people believe this should be an entertaining match.
Well, it's been, there's a nice look. It's been entertaining up to it because Greg Haugen has stimulated the crowd almost in perversity. His mouth might be the best left hook in Reno tonight. He has said things about Ray Mancini, and most of the fans here have come to see Ray pay him back.
His demeanor when he got in the ring was antagonistic at best.
Well, he's that little imp. that little boy, I asked him, why do you have so much fun? He says, why not? I'm getting paid to beat up somebody I don't like.
Halfway through round one, and in this first round, both men have had their moments. Mancini a little off balance with the right hand. Some thought Haugen would press Mancini right away. He hasn't done that. He's been there for him, but not tried to push him back too much.
You know what? They're right. Tough guys don't dance.
They're right in the center of the ring, in range of each other.
Right now, it's a battle of left hands.
Good right gets in by Haugen.
Neither of them.
Mancini misses, and Haugen mugs at him.
There goes the little boy and Haugen again.
Mancini getting the right in, but takes two left hands for it. So things heat up here in round one.
There's a cut in there.
Already over Haugen's eye. Everybody was concerned about Mancini cutting. It is Haugen who was cut over the left eye, possibly from a clash of heads.
Look at it, it's right on the bridge of the nose, between the eyebrows.
Hopefully it won't be anything that would imperil him in this bout. Big right by Haugen. So Mancini, who many people said during sparring was getting hit with too many punches, is catching some in this first round. Oh, again the right by Haugen. So round one is history. We head into Ray Mancini's corner. There is Greg Haugen. Victor Machado will be doing most of the talking to him, and they work on that cut over the nose.
That cut is not threatening to the fight. It might be damaging in terms of his concentration.
We'll hear what they're saying, and there is Ray Mancini. Now, we talked to you about the wager that these two men came up with, a $100,000 wager. It was born out of some of the things that were said during the course of the press tour, and there's the check, $100,000. Winner, Mancini versus Haugen. It's not a PR gimmick, actually. There really is a bet on this fight.
Oh, yes, and there was bad blood. Here is when Lou Falcino wrote out the check, because it came of an argument and some bad blood between the two when they wanted to fight winner take all.
There are the numbers. So in the first round, Haugen with the edge, a 9-punch edge, and that's kind of the way it looked, really.
Plus two damaging right hands towards the end of the round.
And those were very good rights, and Haugen has a good right hand.
Also, Ray's left eye is showing a little bit of the wear.
So far, Mancini's not in position to throw his really good left hook. Of course, as everyone knows, that's a trademark of his. The days when he won the WBA lightweight championship and defended it.
Remember, we said that Ray's jab is going to be a key, and he's not really reverting to the jab.
Started out throwing it, but hasn't been throwing it.
They're now brawling and mauling, and unfortunately for Ray, this is more Haugen's game than his.
And his left eye, Ray's left eye now, it looks to be
angry.
Very bruised already.
It's angry.
And they might have banged heads there, which made it even worse. Oh, this was a key concern coming in. And Greg Haugen, big right. Mancini's hurt. Greg Haugen just hurt him with that right hand.
You know, he can't see that right hand. Look at his eye. He cannot see that right hand.
Mancini is in trouble right now. As you said, he can't see it. He's getting hit with it. There is Ray's wife, concerned, of course, about what's going on here with her husband. There's the jab getting in for Mancini. Of course, anything he does will enliven this crowd, but so far in this second round, Greg Haugen has had things all his own way and has hurt Ray. You almost get the feeling, I hate to say it, that Haugen's toying with him right now.
And laughing at him. Another right. Another right. And again, Ray does not, and he's waving at his corner. He's even taunting the corner.
Well, this is why Greg Haugen is not popular in all circles. But he's doing a number on Ray Mancini right now. And Ray already looks like a tired and hurt fighter. And we're only in round two.
And when his knees buckled after that first right hand that landed in this round, it took a lot of the starch out of it.
When Ray came back against Camacho, even though he had to chase Camacho and he ended up losing by decision, he was sharp. He's not sharp here tonight. He had his moments in that match where he looked like the Ray Mancini of old. So far, it's not been there for him.
Haugen almost looks like he's having a good time in there.
Well, Ray can't reach him with the hook, isn't landing the jab, and so far it's been a nightmare for him. The right hand can land almost at will for Haugen, Bert.
Well, this is what once he started closing that eye, that's what he did. He's on target with it.
Well, a nightmare round 2 for Mancini, but an excellent one for this man, Greg Haugen.
Okay? Don't show him the right hand, son. Just hit the son of a bitch with it. Let's stop that cocksucker as well.
There's the nasty eye of Ray Mancini, and it may have come from a clash of heads, Bert. We'll take a peek back and see if we can find it here. Haugen mugging. What else is new? Oh yeah, you can bank on the fact that that's where that eye got really nasty.
It was starting to swell. That's where it really blew up, because you can see it before, and there was the first right, which really hurt him.
And the hook, which I didn't see when we saw it originally.
It was there, but it was sort of a thank you, ma'am.
So already a very, very tough time for Ray Mancini. The left eye very swollen. He's been stunned, and we are only headed into round 3. Murphy Griffith looking for some magic in that corner. There's the edge for Haugen through the second round, and the fact that it's only a 20-punch edge doesn't even tell the whole story.
I think Ray was told in his corner there has to be some desperation. He must turn the tide of the fight, and with his eye closing, must even take command of it and try to end it.
And if you want to talk about whether Greg Haugen can be knocked out, he never has been.
He's only been knocked down twice.
Yeah.
Once by Pernell Whitaker and once a flash knockdown by Camacho.
And in both cases, not really hurt, just really pretty much knocked off balance. So
there's another clash of the heads. In fact, that's how Haugen got cut in the first round.
Yes, indeed.
Which that cut is not a factor anymore.
Ray cannot jab his way in now, and so he's winging punches. He's going to take some big counter punches as a result, and he is right now. Mills Lane with a warning to Haugen for elbowing. Soft left hook gets in by Mancini. Haugen lands his own hook. Well, Bert, when Haugen fights a fighter who's coming to him, he's much more effective anyway.
Well, as a counter puncher, he needs those wide shots to counter over. And because Ray is not using his jab, he's giving away Haugen's strength to Haugen. There was an attempt at a jab.
He's throwing it out there, but Haugen is using his own pretty effectively as well. Well, Mancini wore a helmet through most of his sparring, and many people felt that was to protect his eyes against just such a thing.
Well, usually he has had a history of getting cut. When Haugen made mention of that fact, Mancini took umbrage at it and got very upset with him, saying that Haugen had been cut in his last fight as well.
And you saw a glimpse a moment ago of Greg Haugen's wife looking on. Seen Greg live in Henderson, Nevada, outside Las Vegas. They're neighbors of mine. I bump into them all the time at the supermarket and the gym. And right now they're a happy family because Greg Haugen is having things his own way against Ray Mancini.
There goes that right hand.
Well, Ray is making it through round 3, but taking punishment in the process. And for Greg, this is just the game that just the script that he wanted. Mills Lane, a very active referee, though not overly active, so he'll keep control of this bout, but still let him fight on the inside. That's it for round 3.
And Haugen mugs his way back to the corner again, looking at some of the disconsolate fans of Ray
Straight from out
Mancini.
here. Don't reach around. Straight off.
Up with your leg. Put your leg up. Put your leg down. Put your head down.
Don't reach with the right hand.
Well, Pedro Fernandez, what's your scoring look like?
Well, I've got Greg Haugen pitching a shutout, and I've got him up 30-26. I gave Greg Haugen a 10-8 round in the second round. I thought he was totally dominant. Ray Mancini should have stayed in retirement because obviously he's not up to the match tonight, Al. No question about that. Greg Haugen well in control of this fight.
All right, well, so far, Ray Mancini has not been up to the task. We'll see if anything changes. You see the people here. It is a packed house. Murphy Griffith trying to exhort Ray Mancini on. And Greg Haugen's corner, Rick Machado, and the rest got to be thrilled with what they say because it has been a textbook performance for Haugen.
And you'll notice the crowd is now mute compared to what they were early in the fight and when they came in the ring. Mancini has not really suffered a lapse in his energy level. It's just he's not landing.
One of the things about Greg Haugen, Bert, I'm sure you'll agree, is his defense is pretty underrated.
Oh, he's got an excellent defense.
Very tough to hit.
He also, as he ducks down there, he also looks for his counter punch, which might go to his fairly few knockouts.
You know, for the first time in this fight, though, Mancini is starting to throw some combinations. A moment ago, he threw some that looked somewhat effective.
Greg Haugen, in the brawl, does much better, as witnessed by his one win over Vinny Pazienza in the middle bout, as opposed to the 1 and 3 where Pazienza just totally outslicked him. And with Ray coming right at him, this is a Haugen-type fight.
Excellent counter right hand a moment ago by Haugen. The right hand is there almost whenever he wants to throw it over a lazy left jab by Mancini.
Again, the clue being the jab. There ain't none.
And when he throws it out, he's not getting it. Again, the right. And I think that one hurt Ray.
You can tell by his almost windmill punches in desperation back.
And this is when people criticize Mancini's technique. Earlier in his career, it wasn't so bad, but when he gets hurt and tired, it goes away. And he is now hurt with the right, I think, again.
His left leg just came up off the canvas perceptibly.
Tremendous boxing performance right now by Greg Haugen. He is pinpoint in his accuracy and landing with power. Mancini leaning in, got hit with the left hook. Ray is not old. He's 31 years old. By some boxing standards and comebacks, it's not old, but he has been off for a long time. And it's obvious he's suffering from what many of the other comebackers suffer from time to time. Very bad timing.
Well, there's also the thesis it's harder for a smaller man to make a comeback than it is a larger man.
And that apparently is the case tonight. Under a minute left to go in round 4. Al Bernstein along with Bert Sugar, also Pedro Fernandez here. And we are bringing you what has turned out to be a boxing clinic for Greg Haugen.
He just walked in with an uppercut that was there for him, a right-hand uppercut from afar.
Right hand by Mancini with not much on it.
But it was his first good right hand in 3 rounds.
Haugen just smiling, as is his wont. Both men are 31 years of age, but Greg Haugen has been active throughout. Ray Mancini is not, and it is showing. That does it for round 4. We follow Mancini into his corner again. It's Murphy Griffith. On the inside in this match, there has been good work done by both men, but mostly Haugen.
Well, watch Haugen here. Wait for Mancini to commit himself before he delivers his punch.
Great counter-punching by Haugen. It's been so effective. And on the inside there, you see him clubbing Mancini.
This is when he hurt him. And again.
And as you look at Mancini coming in from a different angle.
Leaving himself wide open.
Yeah.
60. We offer a different hit movie on each channel for 1 week with continuous showings all day. Pay-per-view channel 6.
Haugen with a pretty big edge, throwing more and landing a better percentage. Mancini running out for this 5th round.
As he did for the 3rd. He must do that.
Can he sustain that over a round? Even landing a straight right hand. Now there's that jab. It's so effective for him when he jabs his way.
But if he leads with a hook, he's in trouble.
Every time.
Must continue the jab.
And a reminder that Ray Mancini is not a one-punch knockout artist anyway. The only time he did that in his career against the top fighter was against Romero.
He did it against Frias.
Well, yeah, but he landed a lot of punches against Frias. Romero was a one-punch knockout. So it takes him a while. He's got to hit you with accumulation of punches, which he's having a hard time doing against Haugen.
Good lefts by each.
They both landed excellent hooks.
And here comes the Mancini crowd trying to exhort their hero. He's got them back into the fight.
With just some good work in this round, he's done it. And the Mancini left hook, which is probably his best punch overall, just he hasn't been able to get that punch going at all in this match.
One interesting aside very quickly, Haugen's got Haugen on his waistband. Mancini has Lenny, his father, Boom Boom Mancini the One, who was a lightweight contender before he got his shot, was called in and drafted into World War II. And we all know that sort of soap opera story which works for Ray and his boy next door image.
A little over a minute left to go in round 5, and Haugen gets in yet another good right hand. I have seen Haugen in bouts like this, even though sometimes against lesser opponents. Probably the one that comes to mind is against Tommy Hanks. He won in 10 rounds last year, or a year ago, and was the same way, pinpoint accuracy against the boxer coming in against him.
Well, the only ones, again, who give him trouble are the ones that can outslick him and move away from him.
A right hand by Mancini, and another, followed after the jab.
But again, all off that jab.
Haugen missing with the right, glances it as over Mancini's head. This round turns out to be a little bit better for Mancini.
Oh, I think a lot better.
Still getting hit with some shots, but landing his own at least.
And he moved Haugen away with a double jab.
So it's a closer round for Ray. The question is, did he win one? Greg Haugen walking back to his corner with a grin on his face that was positively demonic. I mean, he just is reveling in ruining the good time for all of Mancini fans.
Well, he's been doing that. You know, he's that little imp.
He loves it. There's Haugen in his corner, and we will see Mancini using the jab a little bit more effectively here, Bert. Missed in a couple, but did manage to get that left hand in, which was set up by the jab. There you see that angry left eye of Mancini.
We were talking about the imp that is in Greg Haugen. His father called him Mutt, which is his nickname, I guess because he was the brunt of the litter. But he has always been that way, a little imp.
He loves to get people riled up. He loves to stir things up, and he's done that here tonight. But he's also performed extremely well. He has done what he knew he had to do against Ray Mancini.
Thus far.
Thus far, to this point.
Doesn't that mean thus far?
I would say yes.
I can't get a good argument out of you, Vern.
No, I don't argue. I just won't. We are in round 6. It's a 12-rounder, and we are approaching the halfway point.
It's for the NABF Junior Welterweight or Super Lightweight Championship. Both of these men were dubbed NABF Lightweight Champions. It's the first time in the history of the NABF former champions have fought for another weight division championship.
They both had that title. Crowd getting into this one.
The last time I saw a fighter do that was Marvelous Marvin Hagler against Ray Leonard. What Haugen was doing.
Waved his hand over his head. Mancini getting on the inside, but not too effective in there. Well, now Haugen predicted a 4th or 5th round KO in the newspaper, so that has gone by the wayside.
Well, the punches have come down to a precious few. It's more mauling inside now. Those are right.
And Ray Mancini's technique has just gone south on him now. He's not throwing punches in a really good way and not getting leverage into his hooks. It's all just kind of arm punches.
Where has the jab gone? See, there was just a left that just flew out there. And Haugen is going to time that once.
Just over a minute left to go in the 6th round. And on the inside there has not been a lot of great action from Ray Mancini. He lands a right hand and a jab.
But of no great consequence. He needs a lot more of those. Look at that right.
All arm punches from Ray. Nothing on those punches. Just not getting any leverage into them.
You get the feeling you're watching Dorian Gray.
Well, obviously.
And I never knew what his fight record was.
Haugen performing very well in there. Counter-punching extremely well, and Ray lunging like that, as you saw, and getting hit all the more for it.
That's a giveaway. This is not the fighting machine that once was Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
That'll do it for round 6. As we follow Greg Haugen back to his corner. Another pretty good round for him. And let's find out what Pedro Fernandez thinks of the scoring situation. Pedro?
Well, Al, after 18 minutes of boxing, I've got Haugen pitching his shutout, giving him two-point rounds in the 2nd and the 4th round. Straight up, Greg Haugen's in total control here. Ray Mancini looks on the verge of being knocked out. That's in my opinion.
Well, it's pretty hard to argue with him being ahead, that's for sure. And they are aware of that, I'm sure, in Ray's corner. We peek back into the last round with Haugen doing more of same, Bert.
I mean, Ray, the previous round, found his jab, albeit just for a second or two. Now he doesn't have it. He's off balance. He's arm punching.
And there was one of those slick moves by Haugen. There you look at the punch total. Now that's not a huge difference between these two fighters, but so many of those punches that Mancini may be landing are very soft punches that you have to give him credit for, but they're just not doing that much. And Haugen...
Now he's back to his jab. This goes on alternating frequencies every other round.
This is round 7. Ray Mancini in the green trunks, Greg Haugen in the blacks for the NABF Junior Welterweight Championship. I'm Al Bernstein along with Bert Sugar and Pedro Fernandez. We are here in the Reno Convention Center where Ray Mancini so far has not been too successful in his comeback.
This isn't the Ray Mancini that this packed arena wanted to see. Suppose Ray threw a party and nobody came. Everybody came and he still can't throw the party.
Well, it hasn't worked the way he anticipated, that's for sure.
He actually ducked one.
Haugen going to the body, and there hasn't been Livingstone Bramble telling us the other night that the reason he felt he beat Ray is because he went to the body. Haugen hasn't even had to do that.
No, but Livingston Bramble thought the way that Ray could win was with the jab. In fact, I heard him telling him yesterday after they'd shaken hands, which was for Livingston Bramble because he loves Ray, a big moment for him.
And before their fight, there was a lot of hostility and anger.
Yes, but Livingston Bramble came all the way to Reno to root for Ray Mancini.
They just clashed heads, and Haugen brushed at his right eye to see if there might be a cut there. They've done an excellent job with the end swell of keeping the left eye of Mancini from closing completely.
And conversely, Haugen's cut between his eyes is of no significance at all.
Well, it's become a little ugly here in round 7. Not a lot of... Oh, big
Good,
right hand.
there's a right.
this fight will probably be over. I don't know if Ray is going to be able to continue. No. He's up. Oh, he's very wobbly, yes. The fight is stopped appropriately, and Greg Haugen has ended it here in the 7th. 3 rounds after he thought he might. For Ray Mancini, that will be it, I'm sure, for his boxing career. And to the end, Greg Haugen taunting some of the crowd here, reveling in his victory, and it was a supreme effort by Greg Haugen. Make no mistake about that. Whatever the sentiment of this crowd, he performed brilliantly. And whether it was his brilliance or the fact that Ray Mancini simply couldn't achieve the level he had previously, still ends up being a very big win for Haugen. And he shows his sportsmanship in the end by coming over to Ray Mancini. An exuberant Greg Haugen, and why not? That, of course, is the other end of the spectrum. We've seen this scene several times in Ray Mancini's career. Certainly plenty of wins as well. Here's how it happened in the 7th round. I believe it's a short right hand that he gets hit with. Yes, a short counter right hand. It was right over us that he hit the ropes. And as we got such a good view of it, you see it's in the background, it just didn't seem like Ray Mancini was going to be able to get up and continue in this match. His eyes were glazed, he was in all kinds of trouble, and ultimately it was that short right hand of Haugen, the one which had spelled disaster for Mancini, near disaster earlier in the bout, that did him in. And I'll tell you, for Greg Haugen, this win sets up many possibilities for him. We'll see it again. The counterpunching was the key, of course. If Haugen was to win, that would be the key. And one last footnote. For Ray Mancini to get up from this, and it finally is what maybe distinguishes him from a lot of other boxers, showed tremendous heart, tremendous courage. Look at him, he was practically out on his feet, still showed the will to get up. And probably would have continued had he been allowed to. And it was an excellent decision by Mills Lane not to let him go on. That's one happy man. Jimmy Lennon has the official word for us. Let's go to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time, 2 minutes, 27 seconds in round number 7. The referee in charge, Mills Lane, stops the contest. The winner by way of TKO, the new NABF and NABO Junior Welterweight Champion, Greg Haugen.
All right, so Greg Haugen is the winner, and now somebody who was quite interested in this, Livingstone Bramble, is out with Pedro Fernandez.
A one-sided fight, no question about that, for Greg Haugen. What did Mancini, did he have anything tonight? He looked like a fighter totally devoid of any skills.
I think Ray's skills kind of diminished a lot, and I expected more of him than what he had. And I think that the fact that Ray took that time off and Haugen was a little sharper, and Ray was getting tired in the previous round.
Okay, now what's happening now? You want Haugen now? You wanted Mancini an hour ago. Now is it Haugen?
Bring Greg Haugen on. He's one fighter who my trainer and people, Philip Fredericks, who wanted to fight, and I think that's the fight. I want Haugen. Bring him on. I want to talk to him right now.
Reno, Nevada, huh? Bramble and Haugen in Reno. Let's go to Burt Sugar and ringside.
Greg Haugen, a hell of a performance. How did you rate yourself?
Well, I started a little slow and started to come on. I seen Ray was strong at the start of the rounds, and he faded in the middle. I could hear him wincing pretty good when I was hitting him with some body shots. And, I knew he wasn't going to give up, so I just had to keep sticking the jab and following with the right hand. And had him with some big shots, and he just kept coming. And, I was in tremendous shape. I took this fight very serious. Where's that list? Where's that piece of paper?
We have a piece of paper here. Wait a minute.
I need to say something first.
All right. Turn around, and he'll get to the paper. You turn around. I need your face.
Okay, first of all,
Okay,
I'd like to dedicate this fight to my good friends Curtis, Randy, my Uncle Bill, and my Uncle Ed, my Aunt Gert, who I lost a little while back. I love them all, and thanks to my sparring partners, Gabriel Rafael Ruelas and Hector Pena, and my best team in boxing, Jim Montgomery, Victor Machado, Keith Clevin, Brent Mounts, and Darren Libinati. And hi to everybody in Auburn, at my cousin Gary's, and the sports page, and happy birthday, Pat in Spokane. Happy birthday,
Now, wait a minute. Now, we got rid of that. There's one thing I want to know when you say you were talking to people. What did you say to Ray Mancini when you went over and hugged him?
Well, I just told him he's a hell of a fighter. He's tough, and, you know, he took some big shots, and, you know, there was a lot of trash talk before the fight. And,
Which you did some of.
Oh, I do a lot of it. You know, it's my mental game, and, you know, it's all head games, and, you know, and he's good at it too, and, you know, but I just knew that I was a better guy. He'd been off for a while, and, you know, boxing, you just can't pick up and start off where you left off. You know, it's a tough game, and you got to stay on it. I've been an active fighter. He's been inactive, so I knew I was going to win, but I didn't take him light. I was in tremendous shape, thanks to Keith and Jim and Victor. I had 9 weeks of training.
Victor,
we're living together, driving each other crazy. I'd like to say thanks to Momentum and Al Goosen Promotions and you know, for giving me the chance to fight.
If you had a recommendation to make to your worthy opponent, to Boom Boom Mancini, would you advise him to retire now?
Oh, definitely. You know, he's a gallant guy. He gave it a lot, but he's lost a lot of timing, and, you know, I knew that I could stick outside and pick him apart and just bide my time. You know. Here's
the knockout. Let me show it to you, and why don't you comment on what's happening?
Well, I was trying to push him back. I heard him. You know, I knew he was tired of breathing hard when we were inside. And I knew I was cut because we hit heads. We hit heads, and I knew I was bleeding. And I caught him with a good right hand coming in. And, you know, I knew I was going to finish him if Mills didn't stop the fight. So,
here it is, you know, again, different angle.
You know, I just went back with a jab, and you know, caught him with a good right coming in, and that was a heck of a punch, and he took it.
Question: you were hitting him with right hands a lot throughout the fight. Was that because his eye was closing?
No, it's just because I've been working on it in the gym. You know, I owe all these guys a lot of credit. I worked hard. Keith Clevin, my physical condition guru right here. Victor Machado, and the man who's been with me since I've been 5 years old, Jim Montgomery from Auburn. Now to bigger and better things.
All right, I got one quick note. You're wearing a hat. I want you to have the Burt Sugar hat of excellence. Beaten up, nasty looking, just like I wear. Thank you. You were beautiful.
Mark Machado.
Well, thank you, Bert. Greg Haugen, a winner, and a happy winner, and a gracious winner, we might add, giving Ray Mancini his due, and why not? Ray came back and gave a good effort, just was not able skill-wise to handle Greg Haugen, and Greg hit it on the head when he said the timing of Mancini was the key element probably in this match. So Ray Mancini doesn't quite get it done, and he will probably, for all intents and purposes, go back into retirement. We hope stay there, because this was an effort that showed that he probably should not come back into boxing again. Well, Pedro Fernandez was an interested observer in this one, as we all were. He scored it almost completely for Haugen. Pedro, what about this win for Greg Haugen?
Well, I think it's a terrific win for Greg Haugen now, and I'm looking for Greg Haugen to do bigger and better things at 140 pounds. I think he's a world-class fighter. I think he's in the top 5, and I think Ray Boom Boom Mancini ought to go back to acting. I really don't think that Mancini's together as a fighter anymore. He's completely devoid of any skills, so I'm trying to be redundant, but he just can't do it. The man shot. Let's go to the ring, and let's go with Boom Boom and Burt Sugar.
Ray, one of the nicest men I ever met. Is this how you want to be remembered, or do you want to be remembered as Ray Mancini, the man who gave it his all, tried his damnedest to get up, and showed exactly the heart that you've always had?
Well, I give him all tonight. It's just inactivity. You can't do it. I realized that. I got in there, and he's an active fighter. He's a hell of a fighter. He's a good fighter. That's why I wanted to fight one of the best. You know, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it in a big way. And he proved himself. He's a hell of a fighter, and you can't do it after a long layoff. Just your skills aren't there. And I tried. I thought I'd be able to match up very well with him, style-wise, physically, but the punches weren't there. I was very tentative tonight.
Did you feel that early on, or did it come to you in a flash?
I realized that early on. You know, I'm moving my head. I'm off balance. I was throwing punches. I'm off balance. You know, he's not there. You realize that you know, it's not hitting the bag. You know, you got a guy moving, bobbing, weaving, a real good pro, seasoned pro. I thought I could beat him. I thought I really had it, what it takes. But like, you know, I found out, and that's just the way to find out, I guess. I found out, you know, and I don't have to wonder anymore.
And you're one of the nicest men I know. I know that Greg Haugen was, because you're so nice and these are your fans, was epitomized as the bad guy here, and yet he came over and hugged you.
Yeah, hey, we're athletes. We understand, you know, in the field, in the heat of battle, what goes on. Hey, he's a father and a husband, and I respect him very much for that. And you know, and anything inside the ring, that's inside the ring. If the fight's over, he come over, congratulated me, shook my hand. He's a hell of a guy.
Ray Mancini, you're one of the nicest, gentle persons I've ever met. You and your dad, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Bert, and I appreciate all my fans watching, and I'm sorry we didn't give a better effort.
God bless. Ray Mancini.
Well, unquestionably the final chapter for Ray Mancini as he loses for the 5th and we think probably the final time as a professional. And as we turn things for a moment over to Pedro Fernandez, Pedro, Ray Mancini admitting what we had all said, that this was a performance that was not meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. Ray Mancini, like I said, should have stayed retired. Hopefully he will stay retired. Now tonight, Mancini loses his 5th fight. He's 29-4. Greg Haugen wins his 30th fight. He's 30-4 with a draw. Where does Greg Haugen go from here? Anywhere he wants in the junior welterweight division. But I've got to tell you, boxing fans, May 8th, live from the Riviera Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, the WBA Cruiserweight Championship will be presented by Momentum Promotions in association with Al Goosen Promotions. So tune in. That's pay-per-view, May 8th. Until then, peace. Take it away, guys.
Well, thank you, Pedro. We have some final words also from Bert Sugar. And Bert, you're in the ring. What do you think of this in terms of not just Mancini, Ray, Bert, but also in terms of Greg Haugen?
Well, it's always difficult saying goodbye to old friends. Ray Mancini has been an old friend to boxing, to people who care. This is a class act. He showed heart tonight. Heart was not enough. Heart is a very, very poor loser in the boxing ring. You gotta bring more to the table. Ray didn't have it. Greg Haugen, Greg has a future, a good one. I don't know, a great one, but a fun one. He set out what he had to do. What we had tonight in a very entertaining card was an up-and-coming Roy Jones Jr. showing his wares. Mark Gastineau, I don't know where's he's going, and Ray Boom Boom Mancini, I wish him well when he goes his wares. We have had one good time, a lot of good fights. We look forward to us being with you and you being with us on the Lalanches Night of Fights. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bert. Bert did mention, as did Pedro, that we're going to have a very exciting fight, we believe, on May 8th, when Bobby Chez will be taking on Donnie Lalonde, defending his Cruiserweight Championship. There it is. It'll be in Las Vegas. You can get it on pay-per-view, so we hope you will order that one and get that match in your home, and it should be an exciting one. Well, tonight, in the 7th round, Greg Haugen knocks out Ray Boom Boom Mancini, and in addition, Roy Jones wins. Mark Gastineau also won this evening. Roy Jones looked very impressive in doing so. So it puts a capper probably on Ray Mancini's career, and for Greg Haugen gives him many, many options in the junior welterweight division. We hope you enjoyed our telecast this evening. For Pedro Fernandez and for Bert Sugar, I'm Al Bernstein. We'll see you next time.